Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. We have an amazing show for everybody today. What do we have, Krystal?
Indeed we do. You will be shocked to learn we're going hard on Iowa. We've got campaign surrogates, Chuck Rocha from Team Bernie. We've got Jennifer Holdsworth from Team Pete on the ground to hear what they are feeling today going into the big vote tonight. We've got Paul Steinhauser, also a reporter who's a great friend of the show, to tell us what's going on. And All-Stars, yes. And also, just for the fun of it, we've got a Trump rep in here as well to talk about how they are feeling watching this from the outside in. And we wanted to break down for you, though, to start with some of the sort of complicating factors and what we are watching for tonight in Iowa.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, one of the major things that, of course, everybody who here watches, we know that second choice is the most important thing. So this weekend, there was actually an interesting poll. This is from Emerson. And they have the people who will back the eventual Democratic nominee and who won't. So you can actually see in this graphic that Bernie Sanders supporters at 16%, Pete Buttigieg at 14%, and Andrew Yang topping that at 42%, actually saying no, they won't commit to supporting the eventual Democratic nominee. Obviously, whoever tweeted this isn't an Elizabeth Warren fan, but it's funny, Krystal, Andrew Yang took quite a bit of hate for this. The fact that 42% of his supporters won't back the eventual Democratic nominee, or at least won't automatically.
To it. Yeah.
By the way, you would be a fool to do that, right? Like, who's just like, yes, I will only vote straight party ticket. But the real thing, to me, was that it showed that Yang did what everybody else and Bernie, to a certain extent, also did, which is bringing new people into the political process who are excited to vote for you and who are not ideological. That 42% shows an entire 42% who are there for Andrew Yang, involved in the political process. That's what you're supposed to try and do in politics. 65% of the American working class is not vote. Doesn't vote. They're non-voters.
Right.
He actually did it.
And it's no accident that the three anti-establishment candidates, Yang and Bernie, and Tulsi doesn't show up here, but we've seen similar things for her in other polls, are the three who have brought those new people into the process, who have actually converted some Trump supporters over to be their supporters, which again is supposedly what the mainstream media tells us we're supposed to want in a candidate. It's actually a phenomenal electability argument.
It is.
The person who sent out this tweet said, oh, this is a great testament to Elizabeth Warren's
unified. It's not.
No, it's a great testament to the fact that she is strong just with straight D's, Democratic Party loyalists.
Win the nomination
those people are going to vote for the Democratic Party nominee no matter what. What you want is a profile like an Andrew Yang or a Bernie Sanders, where they are bringing new people into the process, where they are winning over independents and even some Republicans. So it kind of proves the opposite point of what they're trying to make.
Exactly. It's so funny. It's not a negative. It's a negative indicator only to the media, but to everybody else, these are huge positive indicators. Right. Especially for Yang, which is that to have 42% of your people be only for you, that's a very potent political weapon in terms of swinging votes, in terms of, you know, if as somebody who enters the process brings all of your own people with you, that is huge. And actually, look, I think it testifies to his message. He's the only real, you know, I saw a clip of him over the weekend in which he asked people in the audience, he said, raise your hand here if you voted for Donald Trump. And people did. And he said, every single one of them is welcome here. I don't see that in any other Democratic.
It shouldn't be a radical thing.
It's amazing.
And if Democrats had approached this era with that spirit of like, okay, you voted for the other
positivity,
guy, fine, like positive, we welcome you back. Instead, it's just been a steady stream of contempt of like, you know, you're deplorable. If you ever voted for him, you're completely racist, beyond the pale, et cetera, et cetera. Also, the media narrative about these numbers is part of a pattern of trying to sort of dismiss a candidate by making their supporters problematic. And again, we've seen this consistently with all the anti-establishment candidates. Yang, when he first jumped on the scene, remember there was this whole narrative about how his supporters are all white nationalists, which was just like completely made up out of whole cloth. Tulsi, same thing, you know, oh, she has all these Republicans backing her, she must be illegitimate, she's not really a Democrat. Even though, you know, on so many issues, she's one of the more progressive people in the field. It's just a ridiculous narrative. And of course, with Bernie, the whole Bernie bro thing is just absurd.
Yeah, and I saw Yang on, I think he was on ABC's this week. They asked him, they said, hey, where are your people going to go, you know, if you don't make it on the first alignment? He said, I don't know. Some of them will just leave. A lot of them are former Trump supporters. And I think he's right.
They got a mind of their own. They're going to do what they want to do.
They have a very mind of their own. And I think that graphic, it really annoyed me over the weekend to see him being tarred with this, when in reality it's a testament to how much of a different and good campaign that he's been able to run relative to everybody else.
Yeah, I also think, look, no one owes you their vote, Democratic Party.
Really don't.
They get to make up their own minds, and if you fail to win them over, that's on you, not on them.
Exactly.
So a lot of blaming the voters here that to me is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
We also want to break down for you a little bit of how this is going to work tonight. Of course, we've been talking about this a lot on the show. There's an initial first alignment. And for the first time ever, they're going to release the results of what is essentially a popular vote. When people come in and they say, this is my number one candidate, this is who I'm with, we're going to find out who had the most votes in that first alignment. And then those candidates who don't make the 15% viability threshold, their supporters will then disperse and have to they can either exit the caucus site or go align with a different candidate. We will also get the numbers from that next final alignment. And then in terms of who actually, quote unquote, wins Iowa, what the media will look at, and this is the historic piece that we've always learned, we will find out what the state delegate equivalents are. So after that final alignment, when they allocate who got what delegates, that will be the final determinant that the media will go with in terms of who won Iowa. So it's a little bit different tonight. We're going to have a little bit more transparency into what the initial quote unquote sort of popular vote numbers are versus the kind of like electoral college system that they end up with in Iowa, which should be interesting.
Yeah, it's also funny because you highlighted this, which is that all these other rival campaigns are very upset because they think that Bernie will tout the result of the first alignment vote as who wins the Iowa caucuses, and because they're like, well, maybe we won't. That's basically a tacit admission he's probably going to win the first alignment, and that they might have a chance in order to cobble enough to get enough votes in order to get second. So they're like, no, only the final result is actually what matters. I actually commend them for doing this, having those three different things: the first, second, and then the final delegate count. Ultimately, the delegate count is technically all that matters, but I do think, a caucus system is so Byzantine and all of that ultimately the raw vote totals, to me, on that first alignment, that's kind of who won, so to speak.
We have a weird democracy, let's just say. And look, the bottom line is, person who gets the most delegates, that is ultimately what will get you the nomination. But if you're looking to gauge support, that popular vote number is important. And of course, look, any of these campaigns, if they won the popular vote, would certainly go out and tout it. They're just trying to sort of preemptively strike Bernie because they all believe that he's going to end up with the popular vote tally, which is entirely possible because he does have, disproportionate strength, specifically in the college towns. The theory is some of the other candidates have more widespread support across the state. I'm not sure I really buy that theory, but that's the thinking.
We're going to take a look tonight.
Indeed. And we're going to tell you what's on our radars. That is next.